My name is Jessie Moon, and I am a teacher for the Self-Awareness Institute. And I just wanted to share with you guys, which I think is one of the most powerful little tools that you can have for parenting. And not just for parenting, for dealing with any relationships, your spouse or your friends or your family. So it can be applied um, to any situation. And so what I wanted to share with you was any time that you feel off in your relationship with your child, like there's not a synergy, that your child's not listening or you're not hearing, and whatever, whenever you feel a little bit off and there's a situation and you need to deal with it. So I'll share with you this acronym that I created, and the acronym is STOP. So um, it the S is for stop, so kind of you doubly get that one. And so anytime anything feels like it's not in harmony and there isn't peace and more love isn't being created, but there's friction. So if you can just remember this, because a lot of times, sometimes as parents, we think we need to fix things, and you tell your children you need to do it this way, and they're like, no, I'm not listening. You're like, yes, you do. You need, this is how it is, or whatever. Um, I just want to invite kind of um, this new way of dealing with things. So just stopping whenever it's not working. I invite you to just stop. So the S stands for stop. The T is for take a deep breath. So you just stop, okay, and then take a deep breath. And then maybe, look at the situation around you and then observe. So the O is for observe. And so you step back and you can look at the situation, look at what's happening. So kind of like you floated up above yourself, above the situation, above your mind. So you step back as the witness to the situation. You're observing your mind and what is happening in your mind, and observing what feelings are coming up for you, whether it be anger or sadness or frustration, and you just observe it without judging it. Just stop, take a deep breath, observe, so step back, be the witness. And then the P in stop stands for perspective, your perspective on peace. And so after you stop, take a deep breath and observe the situation, then you're going to want to ask yourself, what can I do in this moment to create more peace and love? And so we have to know what we want in order to create it. So first we have to know, well, of course, we always want to create more peace and more love and more synergy and more joy in our lives and between our children. So asking that question, stepping back and kind of detaching from the situation and allowing yourself to be in a place of not really knowing the answer. And then when you open yourself up to asking, how can I bring more peace and love? What perspective can I take right now to help heal whatever it is that needs to be healed, whether it be within my child or maybe within me or both? Um, so your perspective on peace, you can think of is the P, and that's what we ultimately are striving for more peace in each moment and more love and happiness and joy and synergy and then you move forward. So after you ask, how can I create more peace and more love in the situation? And then just see what inspiration might come through. And that's how we gain inspiration, is by being open enough to receive it, to ask for it. And so we kind of have to put our minds in its place, and not allowing for it to control ourselves or our children or the situation, and opening up for a divine inspiration to come through. And it might be as simple, like I did this with my son. I use this all the time. That's why I'm sharing it with you. I think it really does help me, because we all, myself included, get in situations where, I'll share with you this example. My son came running home. He was playing with the neighbor kids, and the neighbor kids were playing too rough, and one little boy like dragged him across the grass too hard. And anyways, it was just, they were being way too rough, and it got too much, and he ran, darted home screaming, crying, because they were chasing him. So it was like this chase game that got out of control and got a little bit overly violent. So he came home screaming, crying, and then, and I got that sense, because we're really connected. So I ran down the stairs when I met him at the door, and I was like, what happened? And I was like, what did you guys do, to the other little kids? And they're like, what? I don't know. So I saw, sincerity in their eyes, that they really didn't know, and maybe the other boy knew a little bit. But so I was like, okay, just let's go sit down. And he sat down, and he was weeping and crying, and just felt so hurt that, the kids would do that. Like, why would they do that? I think one of the little boys, like, dragged him through poop. I don't know, it was some kind of weird torture game. And I ended up talking to the mother the day after about some of the violent video games that the little boy was playing. And I think it was hard for her to hear at first, but she appreciated me telling her, and then she ended up talking to her son about it, and they ended up deciding together to get rid of the video games that he was playing, that were, the 18 plus video games, and this little boy was only 9. And it really does influence our children, video games, and outside influences. So it's important to, it wasn't this little boy's fault, but to see what was creating this behavior in him. And so I saw it very clearly, so I thought it was, it would be wise of me, or helpful of me, to let his mom know in a way that wasn't attacking. So anyways, but the reason I was saying that is, in the moment when he came home, a part of me was like, what? This isn't right. We need justice. We need to go over to the mom's house and say, like, hey, what happened? And so this is what's going on in me. And then he's sitting there, and it's like, I just want him to feel better. So I just stop. I don't do anything. I take a deep breath. I observe. He's weeping, crying. We want to fix it right away, because you don't want your children to suffer. But you need to step back and observe. Just let them feel with whatever they're feeling or dealing with. And then I asked, how can I create more peace and love right now? And what came to me was just to put my hand on my son's shoulder, and just to take deep breaths, and to just sit with him. And I could feel, the calm starting to happen. And it wasn't anything that I was going to say, but it was just seeing how the peace was coming. And that's kind of what we can do with using this little modality to create more peace. So I hope it's helpful for you guys. I really want to know if it works for you guys. So I would love for your feedback. And yeah, happy parenting. Love you all. Thank you for listening. Namaste.